Hi, I'm Mary and welcome back to my channel, and today I have my quarterly ranking all the palettes I used that quarter video. So I think I have 24 palettes, and so we're going to start with my least favorite to my most favorite. And actually in this bunch there really weren't any duds. So it's just a matter of which I liked more for whatever reason. But let's see, without any further discussion, since I have 24 palettes to get through, we're going to go ahead and start with my 24th place palette, which this is the Winky Lux Galaxy Kitten palette. It's not that it was a bad formula, or it's not that I didn't like it per se. It's just not my favorite. I'm not a huge fan of cool tone gray palette, but I have the whole collection of these Winky Lux Kitten palettes. So since this was a new one, I decided to get it, and I decided that if I got it, I was going to try it. So this is at the bottom, but it's not because it's per se a bad palette. It's just definitely not my favorite. And then let's see, next is the Nubian by Juvia's Place, and the only reason this is so low is because it's super neutral, and I'm not a huge neutral person. I mean, I like a good neutral palette, don't get me wrong, but it's not something that I'll automatically reach for. But this is a good formula. These two, the darkest two, are a little bit patchy, but not bad, and definitely workable. But yeah, so I mean, it's just not my favorite. I have another neutral palette that that's substantially higher in this bunch, but yeah, you'll see a pattern. But yeah, so there's that one, but it's not a bad palette by any stretch. It's just not my favorite. And then the next is this Hip Dot C Note palette, and this palette is just sort of a half neutral, half bluish palette, and blues just aren't my favorite. Blue and greens aren't my favorite. So I mean, that's the only reason that it ranks this low. It's not a bad palette, it's not a bad formula, it's just not my favorite color story. So that's why it ranks that low. Next is the ColourPop Going Coconuts. Don't hate me for this, but it's just not my personal favorite palette. I definitely like this, and it's a good neutral palette, but it's just not my favorite. There is one that I have substantially higher, but this is a good one. It's just not my favorite. Next is the Nabla Cutie palette in Nude, and I got this one mainly because I have all the little cutie palettes, and so I wanted to complete the collection. However, that being said, it is just not my favorite. And I mean, it's a nice, cute little succinct nude palette that you can make a fair amount of looks. It's, once again, it's a neutral palette, so it's not my favorite here, but I did try it and I did like the formula. So yeah, the other thing with this particular palette is all the there are no true mattes. There are several like satins, but like they all have a slight shimmer, but they do make it so that it's super easy to blend. It's just, I would have actually preferred to have a couple of actual mattes in this palette. And then the last one in this bunch is Juvia's Place, the Mauves palette, and that looks like that. I do like the mauve tones. The formula in this one is not fully consistent. It's not as good as like the bigger palettes by Juvia's Place. So that's really the only reason it reaches low, because it's not my favorite formula, but it's not bad either. It's just not my favorite. So for that reason, it's in this place. So I think this is palette. Let's see. And this is 19. I'll have to put the numbers in later because clearly I haven't been telling you the numbers. Next is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. This is number 18. And once again, pretty neutral palette. I like the fact that it has a little more reddy tones, which is how it made it into this next bunch. I have all my palettes divided into 4 bunches of 6 palettes each, just to make it easier for me when I was sorting through where to rank them. But yeah, so this is number 18. It's a good palette. It's a naked palette, so you know it's not the highest color pigmentation and or payoff, but I really do like the story, and so yeah, that's why it is where it is. And then let's see, number 17 is the ColourPop Aren't You Glad? And the reason that this ranked where I love orange palettes, but the reason that this ranked where it was is because of the pressed glitter right here. I don't hate pressed glitters, it's just right now I've sort of been not quite as into them, and so for that reason it's just a little bit lower than like some of my other ones that I'd use in every shade in. So there's that. And then my 16th place palette is the Juvia's Place Nubian 3 Coral palette. I do like this color story, and I do like the formula in this palette, and it's just that it's sort of like a middle of the road palette for me. It's this month, it isn't my favorite, it isn't my least favorite, it's sort of in the middle, and that's fine, a good place to be. As I said, none of the palettes I'm talking about are like bad per se. It's just, you know, some are better and some I like better than others. So that's what this happens to be. And then 15th is the ColourPop Cloud Spun palette. Once again, has a glitter in the center. That's part of the reason that it placed as low as it did. Otherwise, because I love pink shadows, and this is a really nice low pink palette. And so if it didn't have that fresh glitter, it would definitely rank higher. So this is number 15. And then number 14 is the Urban Decay Naked Wild West palette. I actually really like the colors story, but these two right here just sheer out to basically nothing and are sort of why bother. And then we don't need all 3 of these here. If you took out one and maybe given like one more pop of color, it'd be like much better and would have ranked much higher. But I do like the formula overall. I do like the color story. I like the 2 pops of green and this burnt terracotta here. But yeah, other than that, you know, that's why it ranks there. And so then this is the 13th. I think this is the 13th place. So this is the Nabla Poison Garden. I actually really enjoy this palette. I found that the formula is really good in it. But you know, it's a good palette. It's just not my favorite, and that's why it ranks like right in the middle. I think my favorite is this one right here, and then I also like the pop of blue and then the pop of red up here. But yeah, it's a good formula. It's a good palette. It's just not my favorite. So that's why it sort of ranked right in the center. And then moving on, my 12th palette is the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette. And I'm sure that many people agree that, you know, if this one right here wasn't here, it'd be a lot higher. Also, I think that there are a lot of similar shades in here, like especially like sorry, I have to do it this way. but like those two right there are super similar, and like that one and that one are super similar. So, you know, and like these two browns are super similar. So they're just a bunch of shades that, you know, I think that if they were like something slightly different, it would be a lot better. Still could be totally nude, but like just slightly different, just enough so that it doesn't look like we have like 3 sets of duplicate shades in here. So that's why that place is at 12. Next we have the Charlotte Tilbury Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize. And sorry, well, I like this palette. It's like not my favorite, and let's see, is this shade here decided to jump out of its pan and make a big mess, and I had to repress it in, and there's a whole to do, but it's fine. I mean, I like the shimmer formula a lot better than the matte formula, but you really had to go in with your fingers, which I do not like to do. I'd much rather use a brush if I can to get the best color payoff for the shimmers. So, you know, for that reason, it's number 11. And now we're into the top 10. So in 10th place, we have the Sigma Corderosa. Oops. So a really good palette. I mean, there are just others that I like slightly better, and that's why it came in at number 10. I really enjoy this, you know. I like this one here, that one there. I like those two mattes. Yeah, sorry, those two mattes. You know, but you know, I do like it. It's just, you know, and it's a good formula. I know I've said this over and over again, but you know, it's not my absolute favorite, so that's why it landed sort of at the bottom of the top 10, but it definitely made it into the top 10. So yeah, that's that. And then, sorry, let's see. My 9th place palette is the Viseart Paris Love Letter palette. And there it is, and let's see. So yeah, that's what it, oops, sorry. That's what it looks like. I really enjoy it. I wish that there were a couple more deeper shades. But I do like what there is. I like the shimmer shades and really like the pop of green and the pop of purple, but which is why it made it where it did. And I like its cute little size too, so that's actually really nice. I do enjoy the Viseart formula, so yeah. So that's why I made it into the 9th spot. And then in the 8th spot is the Nomad Cartagena Magica palette, and it looks like this. Sorry, here's the cover, and it looks like this. The only reason it's ranking where it is because there's just not a deepening up shade in this, which I think it definitely needs. But I really do enjoy this palette, and I would definitely recommend it. If you like sunset type palettes, but yeah, I really enjoy this palette. I just wish there was a slightly deeper shade, and for that reason it comes in at number 8. And then my number 7 palette is the Violet Voss Sweet Violet palette. It's just a little one, and it looks like that. And I really enjoy this. I love the fact that it's a nice purpley palette. Wish there was a little bit like more difference between this one and like that one. But other than that, I enjoy sort of the fact that it has like 5 shimmer shades and 5 I like that it's a 50-50 palette, so it has 5 shimmers and 5 mattes in it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this palette, and will continue to enjoy it. But yeah, so that is number 7. And then for the last 6 palettes. Number 6 is my ColourPop You Had Me at Hello. This you cannot get anymore, I'm sorry to say. I think this might be the only palette that you can't get anymore. I'm not 100% sure, but looks like this, and this is my favorite neutral ColourPop palette. I just really enjoyed these are more purpley mauvey, warm toned ish. Like it has a nice mix of sort of everything. It has some neutral shadows, some warm tone shadows, some cool tone shadows. It's just a nice sort of mix of for a neutral palette, and this is definitely my most used and loved palette. So yeah, I'm super sad that they don't make this one anymore, and I totally wish they would have kept this in their permanent line. Number 5 is the Natasha Denona Love Palette. I really enjoy this, the pink, purple, red story, and love the Natasha Denona's formula, and so don't know what else to say. It's just a really nice palette, and for that reason this palette is number 5. And then my number 4 palette is the Nomad Harajuku palette. I just really enjoy this pastel story, and I love the bottom row of shimmer shades. They're super nice. This row I think is primarily satins, if not all satins, and then this is a true matte row up here. But yeah, I really enjoy this palette and would totally recommend it if you wanted to try Nomad's formula. Let's see, my number 3 palette is the Odin's Eye Erd palette, and so it looks like this. And then there is the color story. This is the like sort of grungy green story. There are 3 mattes and 3 shimmers, and it's just a really cute little easy to use palette, and I really enjoy the formula. So yeah, that is how this comes in at number 3. Then my number 2 is my Pat McGrath Mothership 5, I believe. The Bronze Seduction. So yeah, I really love the Pat McGrath's formula. This is no exception. And it's just a really stunning, beautiful palette. And the only reason this didn't make it into number 1 place is I like the color story just teeny bit more of than my number 1 palette. But yeah, this is just a really beautiful palette, and I'm super happy to have this. So yeah. And then finally, my number 1 palette is the Give Me Glow Vivid Rose palette. I just am in love with this color story, and I love the formula, and I love the 3 shimmers that they do have in here. I also enjoy the fact that this is primarily matte palette. I like how there's sort of a pink side and a purpley side, so that it's just a really nice color story. I love the formula, I love the color story, I love this palette, and I will definitely be getting more Gimme Glow palettes when they either restock or when new ones come out. So yeah, with that is my palette ranking, and tell me which palettes you like, which ones you've tried. Hit the like, subscribe, hit the post notification bell, and make sure it's on all. And with that, I hope you have a good night, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!